No, before this victory's won, some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome. Don't worry about us. Before the victory's won, some of us will lose jobs, but we shall overcome. Before the victory's won, even some will have to face physical death. But if physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent psychological death, then nothing shall be more redemptive. We shall overcome.
By the time Columbus got here in 1492, see, people have many opinions about him, who he was or what he was, but whatever, see, he was really like the virus. And the spirit was being eaten by disease, and it affected the perceptual reality of the human. See, so when Columbus and him got here, and we told them who we were, they didn't know. Well, we're the people, we're the human beings. But they didn't know because it wasn't a part of their perceptual reality. The concept was no longer a part of their perceptual reality.
Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. And with this faith, we will go out and adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. We will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so. And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children, don't you get weary.
See, this is what happened to the tribes of Europe and the descendants of the tribes of Europe. And so I know that by the time Columbus got here, and I got a pretty good idea way before that, but by the time Columbus got here, the idea of a human being and people in that kind of a way was no longer a part of their perceptual reality. And we'll look at, but what did Columbus come out of? See, when he got here, this hemisphere had no protection to this disease because it had never been here like that. So there was no immune system to the disease as it moved, because the disease came through the wind and the water, so it was airborne in a way and water carried, so it just took the shape of a man rather than something you can't see, but it arrived. Right? And this spirit that was being eaten, which made this diseased perception of reality. So by the time Columbus got here, all right, let's look about 1100 AD or 1000 AD, the church made the decision that it was God's government. It was the authority of God on earth, so it was God's government.
We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind.
And at that time, the descendants of the tribes of Europe no longer remembered that they come from tribes. This wasn't really a part of their conscious reality, because by 1000 AD, see, they had been owned by, they'd been owned for many, many, many generations by whoever claimed ownership of the land, started owning the land. And then they became thieves, and they became serfs, and they became peasants. So they really had no reality about being a part of the tribe anymore, because they were just the property that was owned, like whoever the landlord was or the royalty at any given time that owned that land, claimed that land. They belonged to that land like all of the other natural resources of the land. But they still prayed to spirits. See, the women still had a stronger role yet from the old tribal way, and they still prayed to spirits. So the church, by 1000 AD or 1100 AD, it decided that it was now going to mine this resource.
Some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome. Don't worry about us. Before the victory's won, some of us will lose jobs, but we shall overcome. Before the victory's won, even some will have to face physical death. But if physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent psychological death, then nothing shall be more redemptive. We shall overcome.
Save the souls of the heathen, see. church created the Inquisition, and basically the Inquisition was, number one, is it was to change the perceptual reality of the descendants of the tribes of Europe. Right? And so they were terrorized and brutalized for 500 years in order to do this. But the way the church rationalized this was they were going to save, they wanted to possess the souls of the heathens and the pagans. See, they wanted to possess their souls in the name of their Lord. All right, so this war was about possessing the souls of the descendants of tribes of Europe. And in order to possess their souls, they had to alter their perceptual reality. So if you thought differently than the church wanted you to think, bingo, you were killed. You were tortured and your property was taken. And if somebody accused you, basically you were guilty if you were accused. You know,
deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. And with this faith, we will go out and adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. And we will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so. And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children, don't you get weary.
Oh, incidentally, during the torturing process, you probably say somebody else's name, so now somebody else is going to kind of... So they killed as efficiently as they possibly could with the technology they had at hand at the time. And they did it for 500 years. By the time Columbus got here, it had been going on for 400 years. And so by the time Columbus got here, let's say 20 years to a generation, just for the lifespan during that time frame. All right? So by the time Columbus got here, the descendants...
We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. And I don't mind.